kind of want to clap along with
Let's
the
do
beat.
this.
But we're ready to talk. We're ready to go. We're ready to get live. You guys are now listening to Prepper Talk Radio. This is radio for the ready-minded. I'm Scott, and this is Shane. How you doing, buddy?
I am well. I'm doing well. You know, work kind of sucks, but life is good otherwise.
Well, I mean, that's what work is for. It's to suck the lifeblood out of us. It's something we've got to do so that we can take care of our own.
Yeah, you know what? And I definitely subscribe to Mike Rowe's theory. What he teaches is, you know, I've always tried to follow my passions, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're here. And for work, you can really kind of suck at it when you follow your passions, right? Suck at it as in not make enough money to pay the bills. But you're following your passions, right? You feel good about it, right? But you know what? One thing that Mike Rowe teaches is, you know what? Take your passions with you. You know, do something that is needed. You know, fill an itch. And enjoy your work that way. But take your passion with you. Don't necessarily follow your passion because it may lead you down the wrong road. And I can...
You've been there, yeah.
I've been there.
I think we've all been
yeah.
there. Well, I mean, it's interesting because, you know, we're all going through financial crisis all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's having a financial crisis. True. You know, if you've got kids in school, well, you know, summer break now. Okay, summer break. Kids are out of school. You don't have to worry about the pop-up expenses of, I want to play football.
You got to entertain them. You got to keep them happy, right?
I want to do cheerleading. I want to do band. I want to do traveling band. I want to do traveling show choir. And then you got to buy a giant outfit every year or every time they go somewhere. I mean, I remember when I was in show choir, man.
You were in show choir?
1 year.
Oh, for 1 year. Okay.
And we
I
had to
haven't
buy,
had you sing, and all you do is rag on me when I sing. So.
So here's the fun thing about my singing career.
Okay.
Short-lived. 8th grade. I quit.
8th grade. Okay.
8th grade. We were traveling. We had to buy these special outfits.
Were you following a pretty girl or something in
No,
the choir?
no.
Okay.
My dad was in choir growing up. He has an amazing voice. My mom sung. My sister was in choir for 5 years through school. But the cool thing is it's fun. It's enjoyable to sing, and I still like to sing. I just don't want to sing in choirs.
Just in church, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing. I was actually there to sing, and all the other guys in my school that were there in the choir were there for an easy A.
Right, to get out of another class.
Yeah, and it just so happened, I didn't grow up in the hood. They called my neighborhood the Green Ghetto, but it wasn't the hood. It was a normal neighborhood. But the neighborhood that I went to school in was a little more well-off. So we had the fake gangsters.
Right, yeah.
The
in your middle
school. The richer kids that had more money than sense. And so they're always like, oh, man, I'm so cool, I'm so tough. And so I got ganged up on and beat up in choir.
In choir, okay.
In choir.
Well, that makes sense.
So I'm like, screw this, I'm done. So I took gym twice for the rest of the year, my 8th grade year. But it was ridiculous how much money we had to spend on uniforms or outfits.
Yeah.
You know, the first few weeks we had to wear a purple turtleneck and a black shirt or black pants. And then my teacher's like, well, I kind of don't like that anymore. So then we had to go and get another turtleneck, a silver turtleneck. And I'm like, so it kept changing, but it's just like increasing costs. I'm like,
so what are we leading up to? We're leading up to...
Wait, I'm not finished.
Oh, sorry.
So
go ahead.
The fact was everything you do, the point was everything has increasing costs, right? There's always financial crisis going on in our lives. At that time, I didn't have any money to cover those costs, so I had to lean on my parents. Right now, us as adults, and this is where I was going with this.
Okay,
we have the challenge of our kids, but we also have the challenge of our normal lives. For example, axle went out on the truck.
Yep.
Dealt with it. $1,800 later, truck drives great. Financial crisis. Or was I ready for it? Well, yes, I was ready for it. I put money aside. I saved money. And so that's...
But you still didn't want to spend it.
Oh, no, I never want to spend it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where we're going with today is we want to talk about what are the things that are going on? What are the things that force us to prep? Or that should be forcing or compelling us to prep.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's kind of where our conversation leads today, and that conversation is brought to you by Survival Medical. Survival Medical, first aid kits, tougher than nature. These things have up to a 20-year shelf life. The cool thing about it is they're intuitive to the adventure that you're going on. So check out their website, survival-medical.com, and find out what's going to work for your family. Put one in every bug-out bag. Put one in every car. You know, you can never have too many first aid kits. And the nice thing is they're not expiring, so you can use them when you need them.
Yeah, and they're in a tough Mylar bag, so you don't have to worry about ruining them either.
Yeah, they're not going to get wet. They're not. So, speaking, jumping back, back into our topic, what's compelling people to prepare? Like, I'm watching the world news, and not to get political.
We
what
definitely
we want to focus on
we
today
want to take
is,
a break from politics. That's
Yeah.
what we hope our show is for you, is a break from politics, and getting back to, and I hate to say it, getting back to real life, right? Because I'll escape real life most of the time, right? But this is, for us, the fun part of real life. The job is real life. We got to do that,
yeah.
and hopefully we enjoy our work, and we're passionate about it. But we are definitely passionate about
preparedness, about helping people
and
get prepared.
I'm wanting to maybe step away from the word prep, as a prepper, the word prepper, because it's really just a lifestyle. It's not something strange or odd, or it's starting to get kind of like the Survivalist has got a bad rap back in the 70s.
Well, actually, the Survivalist got a really bad rap thanks to the Clinton administration. They kind of outlawed some of the things that some of the groups were doing. But the point we're trying to get to is I don't care what you call yourself. The point is get prepared, get self-reliant, get to a position where anti-fragile, as our good friend Cache Valley Prepper always reminds us, anti-fragile means that if something happens, you're not broken, right?
It's a state of mind, definitely.
Yeah.
That anti-fragility. But I always say, let's look back to the past. Let's get back to how our ancestors lived. They were definitely anti-fragile, but it was their lifestyle. It wasn't necessarily a state of mind. It was their everyday lifestyle.
Right.
So that's where I'm trying to get, and it's really hard to do when I'm trying to work my job, right?
Right.
And do that appropriately and have my mindset there.
And so many jobs require so many hours that it's hard to do the things you need to do for yourself.
And not just the hours, but the mental exertion, that concentration in order to do that job well. It just takes, it
takes it out of you.
It takes it out of you, but it also takes a 180-degree flip from my work to, okay, I'm gonna focus on prepping today,
Right.
And that's just the thing that I've been struggling, especially this week, and so I'm a little bit down. But
So the nice thing is tomorrow we're going to go out and we're going to get to do some fun stuff. We're going to go film some product reviews and some tips and tricks that you guys can use, and we'll have those published over the next probably 3 to 4 weeks. We'll kind of upload one every week. But
to the Prepper Talk Radio YouTube channel, and PrepperTalkRadio.com, and of course on Facebook as well.
Of course.
So that's where we appreciate your support there. It lets you know that you're engaging with us and that what we're doing is meaningful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what I think Shane was kind of moving towards was kind of understanding of what are we doing here?
Yeah, what the heck?
Right? What are we doing here?
Yeah, so it's like, okay,
You
either
may
you do
feel-
it or you don't, right? It's either night or day.
And you can do a little bit at a time. I think that's our focus today is you can do a little bit at a time. You look at the earthquake magnitudes over the last 100 years and frequency. It's increasing. It is absolutely increasing. So what are the first few things you can do to prepare for that? In Utah, we're always talking about what about the big one? When does the big one come? What's everyone going to do?
But if we're just prepping for the big one, it's how are we going to be prepared for just everyday little things?
Exactly.
Right? If it's just the big thing we're waiting for, then first of all, I think you're going to be disappointed in your efforts every day. Right? You're going to feel like,
why am I doing this?
Why am I doing
right?
this?
That's the question. You're going to be, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Well, I want to take that as an example. If you're preparing for something bigger, the smaller things along the way should be covered by what you're preparing for.
Good point.
Right? My focus is I'm trying to prepare for multiple things. Financial collapse, a mass coronal ejection, or a EMP,
or EMP or something.
That could take out the grid, cyber attack, and then, of course, an earthquake.
And that all goes back to being, anti-fragile again, is being redundant in those systems and not being so completely reliant on those particular systems, which is extremely hard. Again, going back to the work, my work is completely, I'm in the field, but everything is done online.
Yep.
And if that were to shut down, I would have no job. Period.
Well, if the grid goes down, how many millions of us are jobless immediately? Until that grid is replaced, there's a lot of people running purely online businesses.
Yeah.
And so if there's a hiccup, your business suffers. Just if your server goes down for a few hours,
your
business
and
suffers.
something that's really been in the news for me lately is the subject of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin as such.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys seen what's happening with these things lately?
Bitcoin's insane.
Absolutely insanity. And okay, I have not. I'm going to admit it. I have not completely done my due diligence on cryptocurrencies. What's the real value and why would I want cryptocurrency? For me, it's not tangible. I can't trade it without the internet, right? Mm-hmm. It's very fragile that way. So why would I want it? And that's as deep as I'm going to go on that subject, because what we're seeing, I think, in the cryptocurrency market is really a rejection of the dollar, right?
Right.
Is people are looking for other options. And okay, why aren't they turning to gold and silver? Why are they turning to Bitcoin?
Well, I think it's
because
control
it's technology.
issue. Yeah, technology.
Yes, absolutely.
It's control issue. It's easily more easily tradable. There's no new Bitcoins being
and
created.
They can do it online. It's convenient. Just like you say, it's just-in-time type system. It's very convenient.
It's all on demand. It's all easily trackable. But it's different. Whereas gold and silver, there's more control mechanisms on
the pricing, right?
The pricing, on the sourcing, on the everything about it. I mean, even how much you can put into the market is controlled. Mm-hmm. So with those factors, it makes.
Bless you.
Excuse me. I've been fighting that. I was holding it in. I was trying to make it to the break. Had to sneeze. It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense to look at what are my options and what can I do because there's so much uncertainty with all of that, right? And so does it make sense for me to get into Bitcoin? No.
No, for me it doesn't either, but I look back, and if you say, okay, when Bitcoin basically came out about 7 years ago, if you spend $100 on Bitcoin, this is going to drive you nuts. This is going to freak you out. If you spend $100 on Bitcoin, right now those Bitcoin would be worth about $75 million. Mm-hmm. And now, and so everybody wants to jump in and get in on this. I don't know that it's too late or where it's going to go from here. Honestly, I don't care, but. Again, it's looking back and okay, why didn't I at least put $100? I mean, what's that going to hurt? So it's confusing, and I think that's the main thing that drives me every day is okay. I'm confused about what this guy's saying over here. This guy is saying the opposite over here, and so we're coming up on a break. We want to talk a little bit about current events. We don't want to get too deep because we don't want to get political. Everything is so political out there, but there's a lot of financial news that I just want to touch on real briefly, so that all of you are aware really where things are at.
Yep.
And we really want to inspire and encourage you to take a step, start making steps if you aren't already. I know a lot of you are, but I assume some of you are not.
Well, I think honestly, if we do a self-check, a lot of people aren't. Mm-hmm. They're not. I mean, here's a simple thing that I do. Do I have a 3-month supply of cash? Okay. Enough? Mm-hmm. Not. It doesn't have to be equal to my current monthly income.
Right,
it needs to be
you can survive.
Equal to my current monthly expenditures, and that's
or even minimal expenditures that you can get away without paying.
If I'm out of work and I'm looking for new work, I need to have enough money to cover for the gas. I need to have enough money to cover for all that travel, all the printing, all that stuff. But the key is do I have my mortgage covered? Do I have my monthly bills covered? Utilities, food, and any additional medical expenses. That's the core. At that point, I don't care about entertainment.
Yeah.
I can read a book I already have. I can watch.
My entertainment will be actually doing work around the house.
Yeah, I can do other things. But if you really want purely entertainment, there's other ways to do it that's free. You don't always have to pay money for that. We've kind of lost that as a society. Everyone feels like you have to do something on demand or go spend a lot of money for an entertainment. Just talking to my friends that are single and how much they're spending on dates versus how much I spend on a date as a married man, I'm like, I'm so glad I'm married. It's wildly different.
Good money saver.
And so there's so many things we can be doing that can save us a ton of money and help us be better prepared. So the nice thing is get that 3-month supply. Right. Next,
we'll give you some tips about how to do that here after the break.
Next segment, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth of what we can be doing affordably.
There you go.
And simply to get ourselves better prepared. You're listening to Prepper Talk Radio here on KTALK AM 1640. 1640.
Right.
And we're brought to you by Survival Medical. Survival-medical.com. Tougher than nature. Welcome back to the dance party. Just kidding. Welcome back to Prepper Talk Radio. Scott and Shane here, as usual. Second segment. Second verse, same as the first, a little bit louder and a little bit worse. Just kidding. We're brought to you by Survival Medical. First aid kits, tougher than nature, but here's the thing. It's first aid evolved. Any situation you go into, you want to make sure you have a good first aid kit. Something easily portable, easily accessible. These things just slide right in your backpack. They're easy to forget about and not worry about and just grab them when you need them.
No excuse not to have one with you.
Absolutely.
And one thing that that I wanted to point out, if you're I don't necessarily care if you call yourself a prepper or not, right?
Right. And that's just a catchprise term
It
anyways.
is.
It's kind of a catch-all for a lot of different things.
Right. But I want to encourage you to just become more prepared, more aware, more self-aware. And I think the perfect place to start, the perfect little thing you can do, is get a pocket knife and stick it in your pocket and keep it there all the time.
Yeah.
You'll realize, oh, wow, I use this a lot more than I thought I ever would.
Well, depending on the type of pocket knife. I mean, some people, you want to carry a multi-tool that has a knife on it, right? Depending on what you're doing. I carry, usually, just a standard pocket knife. I love it. It's a little Kirkshaw, quick draw, quick assist, opens the blade fast. I use that probably daily. Every time I need to open a package, boom, it's right there. Every time I need to get a sticker off something, boom, right there. It's simple. It's easy to use.
And it may seem like trivial things, right, to open a box. I mean, you carry a knife around to open a box, how stupid is that? But you'll find that tool becomes, what's the right word? It just becomes more valuable. I mean, you realize
it becomes part of you.
It becomes part of you. So, one of my first knives, and I carry a multi-tool, and I carry, a Spyderco with me.
That's a sweet knife.
And I love this knife. I mean, I think it's the ideal everyday carry knife. It's lightweight. It's only it's a 3-inch, and it's very cool. Anyway, so of course, I started out with the Swiss Army knife, right? The pocket knife. You get as a young boy, as 8 to 12 years old, whatever. I gave my son one last year, and he cut himself on it a couple times. Of course, I did that too when I was a kid.
He christened the knife.
He christened the knife with his blood. But it really didn't stop him from using it, right?
Right.
I mean, it did initially for a little while.
Yep.
But now he's all, Dad, can I have my knife back? And because you got to take it away, right? If you don't use it properly.
Right.
And
it's like the Boy Scout totem chip.
There
Cut
you
off
go.
a corner.
There you go.
Retrain him.
Yep.
Get him going again.
Exactly. And so, so then he goes out in the backyard and he's whittling something. I'm like, oh, great. That's a good summer activity. You can get him off the DS. But, even if it's a small Swiss Army knife that's sitting in your pocket or attached to your keychain, I highly encourage you to get something like that. It doesn't have to be expensive. I do love the Victorinox Swiss Army. You spend $15, $20 a little pocket knife. It will change your life if you don't already carry a knife. You will see how it changes your life.
Well, it's just something simple and adaptable you can use in a lot of different situations, and that's kind of the point of today's topic, is to simplify and make life easily adaptable to whatever's coming your way.
And then if something critical pops up, you always have it with you because you've made it a habit to have it with you.
Yep.
So you won't say, "Oh, I wish I had a knife," because you always have it with you.
Yep.
So
with that in mind, it's like, okay, what are some other things? We talked right before the break.
Yep.
Number one, get a stash of cash, right? Surplus of cash, whether that's in the bank or wherever you feel like you need to put it. I like to have it on hand.
Yeah.
And then I like to work on having my savings as well.
That's a hard thing to do, though.
It's so hard to do. I've had, and I've split it up into different types of things. I've got a section of it that's silver. I've got a section of it that's just actual cash, and I keep it in a safe, and I put it in a safe place, so that it's secured and nobody can just pick it up and walk off with it. Those pick up and walk off safes really don't make life any better, because if they can run off with it,
maybe, right?
Yeah, they run off with it and then they open it at their own home with their grinders and whatever else they need, right? Yeah. So make sure you've got a firmly attached safe.
Or a good place to hide it.
A false wall, something right?
Like that.
But I like to have that on hand so that we can use that. And we've used that multiple times, and we replenish it. It's just like your food storage. You pull from it, you replace it.
And when the kids come to you and they say, "Hey, Dad, we got some cash," well, you got a little bit of cash.
Absolutely.
So
that, I think, is one of the other simple little things. Number one, make sure you've always got a knife. Number two, work towards that savings. And that's easy because a lot of us think it's hard, but we don't have to go out to eat every day for lunch. No. You can actually save 80% of the money that you spend on lunch by making your meal at home or taking leftovers from the night before. 80%. So think of this. On average, we go out to lunch, you're going to spend between $8 and $12 for most fast food places.
And if you're cheap, $5 is really about as good as you can do, right?
You get that $5 box at Taco Bell, and then you'll have gas later. But the point is, take that, save that, and all of a sudden, your whole world changes.
And I know this is preached by a lot of different advisors and such. Not that I'm an advisor, but really focus in and take that. Pay yourself first, right? Pay the Lord, right? Pay your tithing, then pay yourself. take that 5 or 10%, whatever works for you, maybe 1%, and pay yourself first.
Absolutely. Put yourself first. Let's take this caller. Thanks for calling KTALK. You're on the air with Prepper Talk Radio.
Hi, guys. Hey, thanks for letting me on. I've got a quick question. It's a little off topic, but it is prepper related.
Sure.
I'm looking to add some either powdered milk or some canned milk or butter products, more along the lines of butter products
Sure.
in my food storage, and some egg products. What's the best route to go? I've got a friend who has some canned butter, and it's raw form, and I've seen that you can get it in the powdered form. What's the best route to go, and where's a good source to go to here in Utah County for products like that?
So I've got an answer, but
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say those are very important items for me and our family. Butter powder, dried milk, canned milk, not so much. But I think that's very important. In our family we do drink milk. Not a lot of families do drink milk, but
We're getting a lot of feedback from your phone if you're walking in the wind
or
or something.
But
You know what? I'll just listen off air, buddy.
All right.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, I think that's a really important topic. Is we store all this wheat, right? But how bland is that going to be if you don't have some butter to put on top of it?
Oh,
right?
man, butter's life.
Butter is amazing, and we talk about there has been this trend for years and years. We need to stay away from butter and fat. You got to have your margarine, whatever, to get away from this fat. Fat is good for you. You need fat in your diet. Your brain needs it. Your body needs it.
There's specific amounts of fat that your body needs, and specific types of fat that's better for you. Butter. I love butter.
Natural, real butter, not margarine.
Yep. Not margarine. That stuff's nasty.
It's. I wouldn't say it's good for you, but it's not bad for you, especially in moderation. Just like anything is in moderation. But yes, I have butter powder. I highly recommend that because it has a very long shelf life.
Yep.
And then I have some of the canned butter as well.
Yeah. And you can get that
different.
Like locally, just run down to Emergency Essentials.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to say.
They've helped with our show quite a few times. We've had them on. Just run down over there. But if you want to have your own butter, you can actually can your own butter, and it's good for 5 to 6 years.
And then just rotate that.
And you rotate that, and then it's just crack it open. It's good to go, and it's a really simple process. You melt it down, and then you slowly cool it inside that sealed can, and you rotate that bottle as you're cooling it, and it'll last a long time.
And it's actually much better for you than processed butters and such.
Yep.
But one other thing I wanted to mention is I was down at Emergency Essentials the other day. I got myself some more salt and some more flour.
Smart.
And it was only $3.50 a can. $3.50 for salt or wheat flour in the number 10 can.
So it was flour.
Yeah, already flour. Yeah, not wheat flour.
So you don't
and
have
I
to
think it's
grind
important to have some wheat that you're going to have to grind, but also have some flour because you may not have time to in a certain
situation. And that
situation.
means it has to be sealed. It has to be self-contained.
And that's why I like number 10 cans. They're still fairly small. When you open it, I mean for our family anyway, right? We got 7, right?
So I love and hate the number 10 can.
Yeah.
And
it depends on what it is.
If you're a single or just a couple in your preparedness, a number 10 can is hard to get through pretty quickly, and oftentimes it takes a long time to get through it.
But now imagine a 5-gallon pail of
But
flour.
then you go to the 5-gallon pail of flour. If it's got like a gamma seal and you've got some oxygen absorbers, you can make it last. But you've got a chance to ruin both of those products if you're not using them. And so you don't want to just open it to open it. You want to open it to eat it.
Yeah, you don't want to store your flour in the bag it comes in either.
Right.
It's got to go into a bucket or put it in a number 10 can because you can can your own stuff.
But the issue that I have with number 10 cans is depending on where you're getting your number 10 can, if it gets wet, it goes bad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to keep it up off the floor.
You've got to make sure if you're storing them in your basement, that's the kind of stuff you want to store on the top shelf.
Get it up off the floor.
You could easily have an 18 to 24-inch flood in your basement with a broken pipe. It happens all the time. You go on vacation, you come back, and you've got a swimming pool for a basement. And it could be 10 inches, it could be 3 inches.
It could be half an inch, yeah.
It could be half an inch. You don't want that 10 can sitting in there rusting, right? Keep it off the shelf. Same thing with your Mylar bags. You don't want them just sitting on the ground anyways because eventually something's going to eat its way through there. I've seen mice get into them.
They can.
So anything you have, keep it off the ground. I guess that's a simple rule.
Yeah. My buckets sit on the concrete, but my concrete has epoxy on it too, so it's a little bit more protected that way. But rodents are definitely a concern in my house. We've talked about that before. Please don't call in and give us your tips.
We don't need any new tips.
I have dealt with the mice in our house, and we do not have any more right now. So, and I think they've been getting in the dog door though.
Oh, probably they're about the size of your dog. So here's the other. Okay, so let's move into the other things.
So we were talking about the next step is food storage. So that was perfect. Butter and salt and flour.
And that when we say we're going to broad spectrum this food storage.
Yep.
That includes water. Okay, anytime I say get food storage, that means
water,
get the adequate amount of water to go with that food storage to make that food storage viable.
And a way to purify and clean more.
Absolutely. Now, one of my favorite things is I like the big bins. They're great.
Bins.
But big water bins, like the big 55-gallon drums, or the 133-gallon drums, or you can go bigger than that. But they're not portable.
Not at all.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you're prepping on a budget, it's easy to get portable solutions for your water.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Number
absolutely.
one, if your family likes to get soda, you save those 2-liter bottles, clean them out.
Yeah, 88
fill them
cents
with water.
for a Walmart bottle of soda.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have some soda
Every time you have a family barbecue,
Yeah.
you hoard those bottles.
Yeah. Don't let them throw them away. Take them with you.
Yeah, ask someone else to bring the drinks, and you say, well, can we keep the bottle?
And my warning on bottles is don't have more than a couple of weeks or a month's worth of bottles because they are a pain in the butt to try and change the water out of them. You switch the water out of them every year. I've done 2 years and still been okay. But 6 months to a year is really what's recommended. And if you have hundreds of bottles like I did at one point, it just doesn't happen. I just didn't get it. I couldn't do it. It was just too many bottles. So I'd like to have a mixture of everything, just like with butter. I like butter powder. I like to have the butter in canned butter, and just have a little bit of everything. A good selection of everything. So same with water. Have different kinds of containers.
Absolutely.
Ones that you can easily grab and run, like grab your 2 liters, and with your 72-hour kit or whatever, and run.
Or your 5-gallon bins with handles, right?
Oh yeah,
I've got a lot of those. I've got probably 12 of those. Actually, no, I have less than that now. I gave some away. I was helping people who weren't prepared, in-laws and family and a couple friends. But the key there was I love those because they're wide mouth. They're easy to transport because they've got a built-in handle and they've got a built-in spigot in the lid. You just flip that around and boom, Bob's your uncle. You got your water. You got a water source. But the key with those is, again, that can't be your only water solution. And you can check out our buddies over at waterprepared.com. They've got the water brick.
They have the best tanks.
They've got the big tanks, which are amazing. But there's so many different ways to get started on that. And the simplest, easiest way is get 2-liter bottles.
Yep.
Now, your gallon containers, your milk jugs,
don't use those.
do not use those.
Yeah,
Let me repeat. The gallon or any milk jug that you buy, don't use for water
storage. The seal
storage.
on the lid is just not good enough, and the plastic is just not thick enough.
Yeah.
Not the right kind of plastic.
It's just not right for water storage, for long-term storage. They're designed to be used and tossed away. That's what those are for, unfortunately.
And I think for water purification, just to touch on that real quick, that's going to be, honestly fairly expensive. You can get a small Sawyer Mini, but that's not really meant for family use. I like the LifeStraw makes what they call the LifeStraw family. It's a bag. You fill it up with water, and it drains out and uses gravity. And there's a lot of different gravity systems out there. So if you're going to get one filter for your family at home, or it's portable too, I would get one of those gravity-type systems.
And the reason for gravity-fed systems is it's passive. You're not burning calories just to get your water.
Yep.
You don't ever want to have to burn calories just to get your water. Make it as passive as possible so that you can be doing something else that's necessary
and they can
survival.
be cleaned out, reused for tens of thousands of gallons. So that'll cost some money. That'll cost, $70 to $100, somewhere around there. Maybe
totally worth it. But you can take that camping. You can take that and use that in current activities.
Very critical to
everything
have
you
like
do
that.
in preparedness has crossover with
That's
fun
true.
adventures.
Yep.
That's the key. You can use it for so many different things. If you're an avid hunter, take it with you as your water filtration solution while you're out there. Because who likes carrying 80, 90, 100 gallons of water in their car just to go camping for a weekend or hunting, right? Get to a water source up there
Fill it up,
so
hang
your
the bag up,
MPGs are better on your car
available on
because
demand.
water's heavy.
Yeah.
So heavy.
Another quick tip I like, I love 5-gallon buckets.
Oh, yeah.
They're great for organizing. They're great for storing and carrying water. They have they keep the rodents away from your stuff, so you can get buckets for free. I mean, you really can. You have to find the source. You have to figure out where. And I'm not honestly going to divulge my sources.
So here's 2 places you can look for those that are listening. Well, number 1, internet. Simple. Go to Craigslist. But if you're in the state of Utah, Craigslist isn't as effective.
KSL.
Go to KSL.com. Go to the classifieds. You can find so many deals there, not just on the buckets, but on anything you need for preparedness. You'll be surprised what you can find.
Yeah, you just have to keep your mind open a little bit. Like, oh, yeah, I could use that for that. And that takes practice, But, yeah, absolutely. For buckets, if you know a local restaurant, sometimes they have 5-gallon buckets, and they just will either recycle them or take them home
bakeries
themselves.
are your
there
best
you go.
bet.
Anywhere there's food, you want anything that's food grade. That's what you want. It's food grade. So you can wash it out. If it has had chemicals in it, you don't want it.
Nope. Yeah.
So there's a quick tip there. 5-gallon buckets are so useful.
They're
so many
super
different things.
stackable.
I use them when I clean up my yard.
Oh, yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
Well, and the other nice thing is, so another thing you need to worry about, or that you may want to worry about or be concerned about, is what about a CME or an EMP? What would happen to all my electronics at that point? So simple Faraday cages can solve that. And you don't need to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on solutions. I'm actually building one this weekend just to show you guys how simple it is. You can go grab a small garbage can with a lid, the little metal
garbage can with a metal lid.
With a metal lid. As long as it's got a tight seal on it when you close it, it'll work as a Faraday cage. Now, there's some things you're going to have to do the inside, so stay tuned on our website, PrepperTalkRadio.com.
Yeah, I don't even know what he's talking about.
And we'll have some stuff that can help make that so it's an actual Faraday cage, because if it's just metal, it's not enough. So we'll teach you that. But the thing is that costs $14 for all the materials that I'm going to use.
And then I think after the break here, what I want to get into is another quick tip for you guys, so that it'll help you build up your food storage, and it'll help you save money on your food expenses, so that you can spend some more money on some of these other important preps, like a water filter. Help you save up for a water filter, or save up some emergency cash.
Well, just going back on the lunch thing, save that money. That's roughly $180 extra a month by not eating out every day.
Yeah.
That's 2 of those nice water filters you were just talking about.
And we can all eat so much more inexpensively too. We buy the packaged dinners, which are expensive. Prepare food from scratch. That makes a world of difference.
Oh, it tastes so much better. It's the only way to fly.
Yeah,
it really is. I miss the homemade bread every day. When I was a kid, that's what my mom made. So we can go back to some simple things to make life a lot easier, and that's what this show's all about. So stay tuned to Prepper Talk Radio, brought to you by Survival Medical, survival-medical.com. We'll be right back after this break, and a word from our sponsors. Holy crap, it's the final segment of Prepper Talk Radio for this week. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We're on 1640. That's ktalkmedia.com. This is the new KTALK frequency.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's different. It's 1640.
It's more power.
More power, and we're going to be extending our reach as we continue to grow. So, we're brought to you by survival-medical.com. Survival Medical, good friends of ours. It's First Aid Evolved. If you haven't heard us talking about it, I don't know where you've been. Pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, we need to redo our commercials on that you hear during the day. I'm just not happy with it.
I know. It's weird hearing yourself as a commercial every once in a while. So today we're talking about things that you can be doing that's going to make
a difference.
Life easier. Whether you want to call yourself a prepper, a survivalist, independent, off-gridder, homesteader, whatever self-reliant, they're all interchangeable and they mean similar things. The key is for us as a people to be anti-fragile, to not have to rely on someone else to save us, right?
Or even just provide the basics, essentially.
Well, and I think that is part of saving.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
It's a level of saving. It's maybe not life-threatening, I'm going to die tomorrow, or I'm going to die right now if no one takes care of this, but it's on the road to demise.
But how good does it feel to have your pantry stocked full of food? I mean, and your fridge is full of food. How good does that feel, man? I tell you,
one of the reasons I started PrepperCon was because I saw a statistic that 70% of the United States had less than a 3-day supply of food. 70% had less than a 3-day supply of food in their home.
Yeah, and another 15% on top of that have maybe less than 9 days or something like that, 5 days, something like that.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And so what I think about that is I hear about all these after-school or all these programs for students where it's like, hey, we send them home with food on Friday, so they've got food at home for the weekend, so they don't starve all weekend.
Interesting.
And I've chipped in with those programs, but it is a very real thing going on, and people are spending their money on their cell phone, or they're spending their money on entertainment, where they could be spending their money on the life-sustaining, life quality-enhancing things that need to be taken care of, like your food, like your water, like a few extra tools that you can use to now garden.
And I think
grow
everybody is so used to going down to the store, I don't know, every day or a couple times a week or or something, so that it becomes just, okay, this is the way life is, right?
Right.
I don't have any food in my cupboard. I'm going to go down and I'm going to buy some dinner at the store and come back. And then, I better make sure I have a little bit of milk in the fridge for breakfast because I don't want to get up early and go. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous if you ask me. And I know that maybe not be so prevalent here in more rural America, but in the big cities where things are so extra convenient, right? The store's just around the corner, right? So why would I keep my shelves stocked
if I can just go down
to the store,
right? But if you don't have the money that weekend,
there you go.
Then it doesn't matter.
That's a big
You're
part
screwed
of it
either way. One of my friends actually just canceled his television subscription, and he kept his internet, but he got rid of his television. That saved him $80 a month, and he's like, that $80 a month that I'm saving, I'm going to now put towards vacations, towards preparedness, towards all the things that his kids want to do over the next year. Now he's got it covered. Oh, you want to do karate? Boom, got it covered. Oh, you want to do and he's like, and it's not affecting our quality of life at all because you can stream so many things off the internet now. What do you need a TV for? Or what do you need a
cable?
Cable for?
Yeah.
Brilliant. There's so many things we can be doing to simplify our lives and actually increase quality. The less plugged in we are, the actually higher quality of life you have.
It is being proven more and more.
Yeah,
more and more you unplug from your phones, you get away from social media and television.
Well, there's studies. I think Harvard just did the most recent one, talking about the less TV time your kids have, the higher IQ they get. Well, then shoot, in Germany, and then there's another place that they have more recess time than class time.
Oh yeah,
because it gives kids the opportunity to communicate, learn how to communicate. Also, opportunity to think creatively.
And for exercise as well.
Exercise. Those are the things that we as adults are missing out on big time. We don't communicate like we used to. We don't have oral communication. So to unplug from the digital world and go out and talk to your friends and invite them over and do things like that. Maybe bring them and get them involved in a project you're doing for preparedness, for self-reliance.
And I think that really, if you think about it, all of you who are listening to this channel, who listen to it regularly, are really stepping away from that. I mean, this is another way of that type of, communication, the two-way talk, rather than just, staring at a screen.
And the cool thing is you don't need any new technology to tune into this.
Oh, no, right? I know. It's
radio.
Ancient technology.
It's ancient. AM radio. It's been around.
It's bulletproof. It's
forever.
Yeah.
Or you can, if you want to get all tech, you can go to ktalkmedia.com. You can download the app. You can stream it from there. Hey! And our good buddy Eric's in house today. He just walked in, so that's why we're excited. We haven't seen him in a month and a half or two.
It's been a while,
maybe 10.
Definitely. So, want to get into my tips here real quick on how to build up your food storage, either very inexpensively or free. And this is something I think that takes a little bit of
ingenuity,
humbling.
And haggling.
Being more humble and maybe a little ingenuity and thought process that way. Is think about your food pantries, right? Most food pantries maybe require an ID, right? You could be over 18. They may require you to maybe sign for the goods you take, but most of them don't require you to prove any kind of income, right? So if you find yourself in the situation where, okay, I don't really have that much food on my shelves, I'm doing okay, right?
I'm surviving.
I'm surviving. I'm paying my bills.
Barely.
Right, I'm squeaking by. I could use a little bit more money because I really need a water filter, or I could, I need to spend $20 on a pocket knife or whatever. Don't feel bad about maybe going to one of these food shelters, these food pantries, the Utah Food Bank. Say, can I get some bread? Because from what I understand, you can get all the bread you want.
It's amazing. They create family boxes.
Okay.
And they create different types of boxes with different types of things, right? So you can get a case that's a week's worth of food just walking in there.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we've gone to the Utah Food Bank almost every year to volunteer. We've also helped out with the Bountiful Food Bank. There's so many different food banks out there you can go volunteer at and help, but they're designed to help people who are kind of on the edge to get over the hump.
Yeah, you don't have to be homeless to go to those places. You don't have to be low income or poor.
Most of the people that go there are it's because they're struggling for a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. And to think
that's
about
normal.
it, and what I'm trying to help you realize is that if you're not saving money, if you're not building up your food storage, if you're not making those steps, you do need some assistance, right? I mean, you do need some help. And so maybe take a step back and look, okay, you know what? If I could get a little bit of free food, I could save some money, and then I can go and help and save up a nest egg of some cash, right?
And then
I wouldn't feel bad about that at all.
Yeah, and then pay it forward. When you have the opportunity to help out more, you help out more and help other people get situated. I find a lot of the people I talk to, especially the 55 and older group, they're buying preparedness stuff for their kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
their
absolutely.
Kids, the cost of just a house is ridiculous nowadays. The cost of living is so
of rent in particular
insane that it's hard. And so the parents who have a little more are helping out. I've helped out my little brother. I bought him a year's supply of food for his whole family when I was doing ridiculous with real estate. I did that for a couple different family members. So when you have an opportunity, take that opportunity to help out other people. But if you can't, don't feel bad asking for help. Yeah,
if you don't have that savings, if you don't have at least 3 months of food on your shelf, really concentrate and get that taken care of.
Well, I've had people move out of my neighborhood, and they're like, "Well, we've got this food storage we don't want to take with us. We'll get new stuff when we get down there. Does anyone know who could use it?" That's when you want to make sure everyone knows that you could use it, so that you're the first on that list.
I've even seen classifieds where, hey, we're selling our food storage because we're moving to a smaller place or whatever, and so we're selling it cheap, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got a whole bunch of wheat for a bucket. Bucket.
So keep your eye on the classifieds, the free section, and there's a lot of ways to get creative out there.
Let's take this caller real quick.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Hey, thanks for calling in on KTALK. You got a question for Prepper Talk Radio?
Yeah, I've got I'm thinking of purchasing an item for my prepping that I don't think anyone's really thought much about.
Cool.
A propane chest freezer.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a great way to go. And they even have the newer freezers are so much more efficient. So do you have a large supply of propane?
I have like 6 of the, I don't know whether they're the barbecue.
Right.
Things,
the 25-pound or whatever.
Yeah.
So would you use that as your everyday freezer?
No, I just do that
just in case
if power went down.
Okay.
I don't want to run a generator nonstop just for a freezer.
Yeah, I don't like generators.
Yeah, so you just when power goes out, you hurry and connect that, turn it on, and then once the stuff in your freezer starts getting warm, you move it over to that before it defrosts.
That's a good idea.
Right.
Can you tell us where you found one or about what they cost?
Just online I've been looking. They're roughly, $500.
Okay, so not terribly cheap.
Yeah.
No, not cheap, no.
Yeah, well, here's another option as well.
Thanks for that comment.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot for that.
Okay. Have a good one.
Thanks. Another thing to think about is a 12-volt refrigerator. Sundancer, I think that's how you say it, Sundancer, they make 12-volt refrigerators that will run directly off solar panels or off
DC,
batteries. Yeah, 12-volt DC. And they're really efficient. If you have panels on your roof, right? I know a lot of you already do have panels. You may not have a battery system, but you can figure out how to wire that thing directly into those panels. Well, especially when the grid goes down, the panels do you no good. But if you do a little educate yourself on solar, you can wire that into your that cooler, that fridge, that freezer, and run directly off your panels.
Well, the nice thing about that is you don't need much knowledge to be able to do that. It's really simple.
No, it is very simple. No,
it's
you're
two
right.
lines.
You're right. It's very. Yeah, you got a positive, you got a negative. You've got to kind of know what you're looking at, right? When you're going to tie into your existing system.
So learn now. Print off the documents you need.
There you go. Yeah.
So that you've got them when you need them.
Yeah. And I think where I wanted to try and lead this conversation, we initially said we wanted to talk a little bit about some current events, and we only have a few minutes left. But I want to maybe touch on these real quick.
Yeah, let's wrap up with those items.
Things are so uncertain out there, and honestly, the more time I spend listening to these different news reports and such, it gets me down, and I just feel so, without hope. I guess that's the right thing. Is just so that all these things are really working against us. I mean, we hear about what Trump just did with this Agenda 2030, right? With the Paris Accord, which I don't want to get into that, but good things are happening. I mean, that's good news. But we know that others are still working against him and still working against us as human beings. They want to control us. They want to have power over us. So how do we work against that? We prepare ourselves individually and as families and as communities to do that. And I think that's, in my opinion, the only way to do that. So the things I see out there that are very concerning is, of course, debt levels.
Oh, yeah.
So what do? Get yourself, make it a priority, get yourself out of debt.
You keep banging that table like it's going out of style.
Sorry, I know. So, like we're saying, save up that nest egg. Figure out how you can save more money, whether it's your food or whatever else you're doing. Turn your cable off. Turn your, whatever. Save some money and pay off those debts.
One of those things is mindset change, right? I want you to think of of that additional income. I want you to think of a mind shift. Change the way you think or perceive things. You don't have to just cut out to have more money to work with.
Right.
There are so many ways you can make an extra $20-$30 quickly, and sustainably month to month. So by increasing your income and not increasing your consumption costs, what you need to survive, that gives you more liquidity that you can use to get better prepared and help others in the future.
Yeah, I've got 2 daughters that are working and they're living, outside of the house, and I am just pushing them. You've got to save, and and of course, we've got to go out and do fun things, right? Go see a movie or go to the swimming pool or whatever. Those are some pretty important things. But really, I encourage them to really weigh, the value. Okay, do you have any savings? What kind of savings do you have? What will happen if you did lose your job, or what happens if the stock market crashes? Where's your money? Where's it tied up? And so that's what I wanted to point out to you guys here. Is there's so many things out there that we're so fragile, system's so fragile. Just work on becoming anti-fragile.
Absolutely. You've been listening to Prepper Talk Radio. We'll be back next Friday here at 10 a.m. on KTALK AM 1640. Brought to you by Survival Medical. First aid kits, tougher than nature. First aid evolved.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, and catch us on the flip side. PrepperTalkRadio.com.